The name I write under is H. Allen Tansen. These are my books. And this is my latest enterprise, Trenton Cultural Castings. My neighborhood kids put together, and we were going to do it for the high school, and did a Barack Obama, and realized that with the campaign coming up, a lot of people might want to make molds and busts of Barack. So we decided to make kits that you can make your own Obama statues for campaign fundraisers. This is the kit as you would get it. It's got the mold. Inside the mold is the first proof. You get 5 pieces of Sapelli mahogany for pedestal base, tools, hardware, and the signs that say Commander-in-Chief. And this is the statue. These are different finishes. This is just with a copper paint. This is a patina. Spray green with oak stain rubbed in. An important thing before you cast, again, you will cast the first time, but you'll want to clean out your mold. There are little flecks of plaster in there, and you can see I'm just using it's an oil painting brush. You want to get one with a fairly stiff edge. This is your mold, which you will get, or you've gotten in your package. It's made with Mold Star it's a silicone, and it's very pliable, and it's cut so that it will fit back together. It's got a little groove in there, you can see. It's very soft, so this one happens to have a very slight leak. But I'm going to use this as the first one I've poured for Obama. Putting it inside a deli container, which I normally do, but we got a little tighter, and this should be, it's close to watertight. We can test it, but of course the plastic is going to be much thicker. So you can test your mold first and see if we're getting any water in there. And plaster, there's a couple drops of water, but this isn't going to be a problem. Our plaster is, as I said, much thicker. This is the plaster Paris I use. It's just DAP. I get it at Home Depot or Lowe's or Ace Hardware. Okay, this is more water than we need, but we can mix a little extra plaster here. I've got the plaster in another deli container. I take it out of the bag. I buy the large bag of 25-pound of DAP plaster, but dealing with the bag, it makes a lot of dust, and I don't like pulling it out of the bag for every pour. I've got to put on a dust mask, so I transfer a bunch into a working container, and I put it in until I've got some plaster sitting on the surface. So you see I'm just gently shaking it around, and okay, we've got a little plaster on the surface here, and I'll mix that up lightly, and that should give us a thick, creamy texture. At this point, we got bubbles coming up. I am letting the bubbles come up from the plaster, and this is the thickness we want. And then I'm shaking it or knocking it here to bring bubbles up to the surface. The air bubbles will adhere to the surface of your mold and your cast, and you're going to end up with some bubbles that have to be filled. Pour it into my mold. I'm not going to pour it all in at once. I'm going to get some into the head area and then turn the mold around to let any air bubbles in the ears and eyes and whatever to rise to the surface. You can fill it up to the top. If you're having a lot of problems with bubbles, is to agitate from inside using a stick like this. And that helps get some of the bubbles to rise. Now this is a straw with a little piece of clay in the end, which I've included a little dab of clay so you have something to work with. This you're going to put in. This is the bolt. You'll see when you look at it, of course, in your base, bolt fits right in there. And you could put in some glue, some Elmer's glue or something when you're screwing it in, or you could just leave it that way. You might run out of plaster. I mean, or you might have not done enough of a mix. And you're just a little shy, and you need to mix some more. You can use some dry plaster and put it in there. It's called rip wrap. And drop it in. Okay, we're ready to demold here. Here we go. Here's our barack. If you'll notice, we've got some little bubble in the nose that we're going to have to take off. And we've got a hole here under the nose that we're going to want to fill. Cleaning this off. I'm just cleaning it off by hand. A little bubble there, and this is fine work. I don't know if I'll show you how to mix the filler. We've got some little gaps here in the neck. The ears look okay. Just taking off the bubbles, some sort. And this is the bottom, which we're going to sand smooth. And cut this off. Our bolt is going to go in. So, okay. Now let's mix up the filler and finish this up. And then put it on the base. This, by the way, was this was our mixing container, and once the plaster's dry, we can just break it off, and it'll chip right out. You can wear t-shirts. hardly going to need this much. I'm mixing it into a soft, it's not really a paste, it's going to become a paste in a couple minutes as we're working it. Filling in this space in the neck. And it's really not much. We have a little hole in the nose, underneath the nose. That's a pretty standard place. I'm just going to put a drop in there. This is where your skill as a sculptor will come in. I would leave it about like this. You'll see things are going to be covered up when we lacquer it or spray it. I'll show you the different ways to finish in a moment. That's pretty firm. Okay. I'm going to put it in something while I do the finishing, and we're going to hold it by its posts. We just cast a cement version, the deli container, and you've got 2 of them in your kit, and I've just put some water in and a little pile of my dry cement. And what I'll be able to do now is pick different levels of consistency and also mix it up much thicker into a paste. That way I don't have to worry about the. So now I've got a nice pasty bit, because I'm going to need something thick to put into that ear. And I'm just going to drop it in the ear and make a little pile. And we got another little hole here. A little air hole at the bottom of its collar we got to get. I don't know if you can, I'm making this possible to see. Okay, I'm just filling that up there. Now we've included 3 working tools for you. They're assorted. I've given you one sharp tool with a sharp point, so you can get into small places. I've given you another one with a round edge for, these are all files, but you can use them multi-purpose, and something with a flat, either a square end or a round or arc tip. So for me it's all random. It doesn't matter really what I use, but sometimes I need something a little special. I'm just going to fill those holes and use something wet. And that'll fill the holes. So I can just use my finger there and fill up all those little air holes. Here there was under the nose, in the nostril. That's filled up in this case. I'm going to pop that out with my needle. edge tool. You're not going to want to just give them a clear lacquer. I do the cements for a finish. For a spray finish. They're also, as you're guessing, cement is harder. So, I mean, that's pretty easy. Just fill that hole up. And when it dries, we'll just file it down. I'm using the wetter, as you see, to wipe around and fill all these air pockets around the bottom. There we go. Here is good as new. And this, of course, was that ear with the big hole. This is the block that, of course, you're getting 5 of them to with your kit. Screw that in there and put it through. You'll see we've got a good bit to put on that nut. These are all things you're going to figure out on your own. Here's the nut. And I'm putting it in with an auto socket wrench. That's in there. That's nice and tight. And I'm testing. I'm doing this before everything's finished. So notice this is an unfinished block. You're going to be able to figure out what you want to do with it, but this block still wants to be sanded, stained, sanded, whatever. It's still got sharp edges, and you want to just, smooth that down a little bit. However, what we wanted to do initially here was to see how deep to make this, to put our bolt in the cast, because now we're going to glue it in there. So this is the place we want to be, and all I'm going to do is put a little crazy glue on there, super glue or whatever. And it really wouldn't matter what kind you use. And you may find as you're doing this that you want to pull out that straw and go in there with clean it up with a drill. That's all going to be up to you. So, but you're going to need to glue that in. That's got to be firm, or you're not going to be able to work with it later. When you try to tighten it up, it's going to slide back and forth, and the head's going to come off the base. So these are all things that you're going to decide and get comfortable with as you're working on the product. That'll decide how deep you want to put that straw when you're casting. This straw was a little loose, and it was crazy glue wasn't gonna hold it, and so this case I just used some wood glue. Elmer's glue will do fine too. And this will seal up real nice. I'm using your molds as a way to hold the bust while our piece was drying in here. And I'm just using a clear shellac here, which is an oil-based shellac. I guess I should have my gloves on right now. And the finishes, I'm just using this little mixing pot that's included with your kit. You might very well want to use just these craft products. This is a permanent varnish. We've got a bunch of these around the house, different brands. What I do is I put the varnish in here, and this folk art gold is nice. This is varnish with a bit of Liquitex gold in there, and that gives you a finish that's sort of antique-y. Here's another one that was done with just a mixture of these reds and browns. Again, all I did was dip the end of my brush into the paint and just put it, a tip right here. This is another finishing option. This is a rather expensive coating. It's actually got real copper in it. It's from Sculpt Nouveau, and I'm sure you can find this online. There are other finishes. I mean, there's spray finishes you could get that might give you something like this. This actually can have a patina put on it. That is, you can oxidize the metal so it'll look like it's actually been cast. Sculpt Nouveau has a bronze paint. This is a patinaed cement. I don't have an Obama right now that I want to do this to, so I'm using Harriet Tubman. I spray it the way I created this one. I sprayed first, and this is satin moss green. I use a darker spray inside a garbage can, outside. I'm going to spray it with a lighter sage gloss here. The idea of a patina is when there were cast metal, old bronzes have the copper in them. The copper oxidizes green. The figure here is done. She's got some bubbles and things from the spraying, but it doesn't really matter too much because we're going to be going over this and loosening up that paint. Actually, this I'm using oak here. On the other one, I used English chestnuts. It doesn't really matter. Let's see what the English chestnut looks like on the back. It's not going to be noticeable. Mixed with the green. of them and just, okay. Now, I'm just going to wipe this. And what's going to happen is some of the spray paint's going to lift off. But this is what we've got here. We'll get a little darker over here. Make sure we've covered everything. Now, notice the spray paint is lifted off. Sprayed into one of my tops here. And touch it up. And that's the same way as I did our Barack Obama. Our Barack. Okay? The bronze that I make the originals from is cast actually in smooth-on liquid plastic with bronze powder, which you can purchase from Smooth-On, so you could make these yourself. We are. Okay. On finishing the bases. We're just gonna put on the stain. I'm using a Sedona red here. The last step, we're going to put it into the base, and then we're going to put a bottom on the base, and that's tight. Now we're just going to put on a piece of felt on the bottom, and that I use just regular wood glue and a couple dots around the hole here, and that should do us. And here we are, complete Commander-in-Chief, which you have assembled from your kit. One word, if you're not going to order the nameplates from me in the future, and there's in your kit you'll find ordering instructions and prices. If you have a local trophy person, just arrange for him to do it. You can probably get it at the same price. You can even put the name of your organization down there. You could use this as the basis for your model, but you know, that's all up to you. You've got the mold, you can do what you want. Thanks, I hope you enjoy your kit, and go to Amazon or Google and buy my books, Anti-Disestablishmentarianistically Speaking, We Think, and The Devil's Laugh.